Okay, let's get into to talking about this movie. I will intro by saying, for one battle after another, I saw your thumbnail and I was like, D man, you will ruin everything, man. It's always some smart nigga shit. I'm excited. It's a new September. I was like, fucking Jay Electronica and Paul Thomas Anderson both dropped in the month of fucking October. I'm eating fucking good. I'm living life right now. Real hip hop is back. And then I see that thumbnail and I'm like, oh man, all right, but I don't watch it. Then I watched the movie.
Thank you for doing that. Like, man, it's so wild. It's when I did like a talk with kids today about YouTube and shit. And somebody was like, "Do you think of yourself a celebrity?" And I was like, "Nah." But I was like, "Oh, wait.
Nah, you a celeb."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. It's like, is it the Midas touch? Is it King Midas that would touch things and it turns to gold? And the person, dope. But then he's like, I would really like to eat. I really like
to make love to a woman without her dying instantly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like it's so like it just goes back to this. The first starts of this was freaking Kidology, where you say something and it's just how you feel, but the ripple effect of clout manifest in ways you can't predict.
But look, I mean, to be fair, sorry if I was interrupting.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I feel like that's just what like, if you have a public platform, then your responsibility grows. Like, maybe this is pushback, but I feel like it's just like, if you keep making videos, then you just have to talk different.
Exactly. And so like when I made that video, first off, I was definitely in my feelings because me and my wife had shouted about it. Like, as soon as we left the theater, we're shouting. My wife, and I was also like, I was taking on some of her frustration because she really was not a fan.
Okay, because before you go into that bit, let me just walk through my experience of your take.
We'll bring it back,
and then and then just lay into it. So I watched this movie, and I was with a group of people, and we came out. First thing, as soon as the credits rolled, the first thing I thought was, real hip hop is back. We're making real movies, 3 hours long. Energy. Paul Thomas Anderson. The second thing that I thought was, wait. So the core inciting incident of this movie is a black woman being a hypersexual, cheating, deadbeat rat. And I'm like, oh man. So in my head, I was like, as I was talking to people, I was like, I love this fucking movie. I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I've watched probably all but maybe 2 of his movies. That was the big issue for me. Well, so I was like, it was a great movie, but this one thing. Then I watched your video, and I thought I was going to like heavy disagree with you. Like, I was ready to be like, man. But then I watched your video, and I was like, oh, I actually just completely agree with everything that you said. It just didn't ruin the movie for me. But basically, your whole take was exactly what I walked out of the movie thinking instantly without ever having even watched what the fuck you said.
Well, I figured I wasn't like
you weren't crazy.
I warned some of my white friends. I was like, hey, y'all gonna like this movie, but if you sound too enthusiastic about it, some niggas gonna clock y'all. So I'm gonna need y'all to give it a week.
I love the part where she popped pussy. It was just, I don't know, it was just so righteous.
Listen, I wouldn't be a good black friend if I didn't
warn you
that this was gonna happen to you. You probably missed this. You know what I'm saying? So like,
okay, so your experience.
So like, so it took me to come down from the emotional, because like this was not like so I think I had like a secondary trauma response in that. So I felt the same way you did. Me and my wife are together, watching the film, and my wife isn't like, Nina Simone or whatever, but she's black feminist enough to know when she's being fucked with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we're watching, and like as the times I'm looking at her like, are you seeing this? And she's like, yeah,
are you good? Are you? Yeah. Squeezing her hand tight as shit, like
right.
Yeah.
But the movie is amazing, right? And I didn't realize it till I started researching to like
dead ass
have a take later, because I actually just yesterday filmed my B-sides for it. I wasn't even gonna do it.
Okay.
But people keep getting on my fucking nerves, so now I gotta say something. But What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
The experience of secondhand trauma through your wife who's not seen him smoke, but
yes. But like we both like recognized the movie was really good, but like we both were like, wow, he was really wilding with the depiction of black women in the beginning, like really being loose. Like there's a way to get across the same elements of of structure, especially in a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah.
Without being so gratuitous and over the top. Oh, what I was about to say was that in doing the research, I realized I like Paul Thomas Anderson too. I didn't know who he was.
Oh yeah, you just didn't know which movies he had done.
Yeah, but I love Magnolia. I love There Will Be Blood. I love
The Master.
Phantom
Thread.
I don't know Phantom Thread.
You got to watch it.
But I'm gonna go watch all of them now because now I realize I got a new dude I like. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, what else was on the list of them? Because I'm gonna make a point about him through some of these other movies.
That's all I know. And Boogie Nights. I didn't like Boogie Nights as much. But I watched it younger. Maybe if I watched it as an older person, I like it more. But I love Magnolia, The Master, and There Will Be Blood. I love
Punch Drunk.
Don't know that one. It's only those.
You haven't seen Punch Drunk? Okay.
Only those 5, I should say. And my favorite is The Master. I thought The Master was
I've seen The Master so many. Shout out to you, twin. Shout out to you. Because people sleep on that fucking movie. And that's one of the best movies of all time. Up there with, especially for like white men, sex addict movies. Shame by Steve McQueen and The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson are 2 of the best movies in that category. Fucking love them. You should watch Shame if you haven't seen it.
I love me some what's the dude that was in it? Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
Except the Joker movies. I thought the Joker movies were awesome.
You didn't like the first one? I know you made a video about it, but you didn't like the first one?
I'm sorry. The first one is an example of politics versus quality, right?
So you liked what it was, how it looked, but not what it was saying?
I liked the overall movie. I recognized there were so many good moments in the movie. I hated what the movie was doing. And so ironically, I think I made a whole video about this. I thought the second movie had great politics, but it was trash. It was a horrible thing to
Everybody hated that one, yeah. Because it was like preaching shit. Because it seemed like he was trying to overcorrect in the other direction. He was like, y'all didn't get what I was saying the first time. Let me be clear, weird niggas. And then weird niggas were like, eh. But it also sounded like he really made a mediocre movie.
So why don't you congratulations, you have a career. You don't have a career anymore. Go back to making Hangover 7 or whatever the fuck it was.
No.
But yeah, so we got out there as we talked more and more, like we really was digging into things about the film. Like I was like a part of that reaction is me reacting to my wife's reaction and just kind of like it almost felt like my wife was disrespecting in front of me, like low key.
Yeah. Some Will Smith type shit. Like watch your mouth. Yeah.
Like, how you gonna disrespect my wife like that while I'm sitting here? Like, I'm not gonna have that. Let me go live right now. Let niggas know.
I feel that.
It's funny because she said you probably shouldn't go live. You probably won't have.
Now's not the time. Wait, did that video, was that fresh off the movie? You were like, I have a fucking problem. Go, yo, okay, yeah. You should have 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
And after a couple of days, there's things I wish I would have said differently or wouldn't have said. But overall, my overall take is still the same, and that's kind of what this next video is going to be about. It's like somebody said Manic Pixie Dream Girl, like she was a black Manic Pixie. A Manic Pixie Dream Girl already is a problem. A black one.
A Mammy Pixie Dream Girl is crazy.
Mammy Pixie Dream Girl.
That's actually really what it was.
That's really what it was. And it's frustrating because I also heard from black women who were like, I enjoyed the movie. I liked the character while she was there. Shout out to Tiana Taylor, etc. And reveal some other love. Shout out to Fantastic Frankie. She's done several videos.
I haven't watched her video yet because I was about to watch it before I got on this to just see what her opinion was.
Yeah, basically she was kind of like, you all don't fully understand the character, one, which is definitely true to several extents, especially in the greater like discourse around her. Because the thing that I do regret in putting a take out there is at the end of the day, any public take on black women ends up translating to misogynoir. It just does. Like there's almost no way to avoid it half the time. If you are not just like somebody will transmute it into, this is the problem with black women and being fast and Sex and Red.
Wait, and so you're saying this manifests from the take that you gave?
I'm saying essentially at the end of the day, my take ends up becoming another voice that will be eventually boomeranged against Black women in some form of fashion.
Okay, yeah.
That makes sense.
That feels like yes, but that feels like such a weird trap because it's like
it is a weird trap. Sometimes you do
I have an issue with this. It's like when we have a conversation around
Lizzo.
Say again.
Remember we talked about Lizzo a little while ago. It was kind of the same problem.
Oh, interesting. I didn't see what the response to what we said about Lizzo was.
But I didn't see the response, but I just remember all of us were kind of like trying to count.
Oh, right. You can't criticize an individual without it. Being piled into a
the nature of Black women in the society is that people will always. I just finished doing this with the Tyler Perry script. Like there was that scourge of Black male comedians dressing up like Black women, Big Mamas, Shanae, etc. Like everybody was doing it, and on one end there's this history of comedians in drag that are white, and I'm sure outside of America and Western cultures, that's a thing that maybe happened in Japan or Malaysia or whatever, right?
Oh man, I'm gonna. That ties into one of my points, but sorry, go ahead.
But when you see, the Black comedians that do it, even if they're not doing it with any extra level of venom, the proliferation and digestion of it just ends up being people making fun of Serena Williams and calling her a man.
Yes.
Like there's a direct through line between those two things. And so you do need to critique sometimes Black women who are doing a thing, right? In this movie, or at least even in this movie, the way that Black women are positioned, and it's not even their fault overall. But at the end of the day, I always try to I was not going to say anything else as to just avoid it and say, all right, here's Fantastic Frankie's take. Here's this article. They kind of represent both sides of the equation. Y'all go at it.
Are you talking about that article? Because I think I almost started
One
reading
Fetish
it.
After Another, I think it was called.
Yes. Yeah.
Really good art. Really
I hadn't read that one yet.
Yeah. But somebody triggered me with a DM, and I was like, y'all niggas stupid.
Now, look, here's my issue, I think. So when trying to criticize, like it's country club conversations. So like when we have a country club conversation where it's like this is Black people talking about Black people within Black people, sometimes it gets usurped to where you can't even have the conversation. Like if you go like, hey, how do we respond in anger to one another? That gets usurped as like, oh, now you're talking about Black on Black crime. And it's like, no, we're not saying that that's over this other thing. We're just going, do we have a thing that we need to examine about the way that we view the value of one another's lives? Not that that is a derailing to police violence or that's the main issue in the community or anything, but we need to be able to have that conversation. Yeah. This seems even more insidious because it's a white man who has written this character and this role. A Black woman has been put forward to enact it. And then in criticizing it, we're criticizing Paul Thomas Anderson, right? But it can come across as criticizing a real Black woman, which Perfidia Beverly Hills is not. It is a fictional character that does not exist. Right. And so I think sometimes we fail to understand that a character being criticized is a criticism of the writer, never the actor or the because again, Perfidia does not exist. So there is no such thing as shitting on Perfidia because she's not real. She's played by Tiana, but most of her lines and her concept is written by PTA. So I get what you're saying, and maybe it's true functionally, I'm not certain about that. But even if it is true, I hate that. Like being unable to be critical of something because it's going to be misconstrued in that way to where you're caught. It's almost like you can't talk about race without being called a racist thing, where it's like to even point out the problem is to be the problem. Right, and right. What then do we do?
That's reverse racism. One of them joints. Right. Yeah. I mean, because in that reaction, at some point somebody says something. Oh, so they're just saying Black women are whores and something like that. And I said that, right? And immediately after I said that, I was like, somebody could clip that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. You because you got a bigger font. Because some of the shit that we say, I'm like, man, you could like honestly, because sometimes we do bits where we're literally going back and forth for like 2 minutes straight in character. And I'm like, bro, you wouldn't even have to work hard to clip this crazy. You could just have us talking 2 minutes straight of crazy. And then on the other end, we finish by going, that's what them niggas really think. But it's,
it's like, no, that's what y'all, that I date white woman haircut thing circles back to me once every couple of months.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, look, you knew which podcast you came on to.
No, I don't regret it. That is one of my favorite all-time takes that I've ever had publicly. But yeah, and so let's like dig. So how much have you, because I wrote a video, I did a little bit of research. Have you looked into, because partly because I didn't want to make it too Black woman focused. Yeah. But you can't not, because that's what the core of the problem is. But I actually compared it to, you remember the movie Dumb Money? It had no. Another guy he was in There Will Be Blood. He has that like doughy white guy face. He's always playing a serial killer or a nerd.
You're talking about Paul Dano, yeah.
Paul Dano. And it's like the GameStop people that like
the
weird cult stuff.
Okay, yes. And this is going to be core to my point. I'll let you finish that, but then I'll get into.
Well, I was pointing out. So I call it. I made up a term. I will see if it sticks. I'll call it woke washing.
Interesting. Okay, yes.
So like, what people in Hollywood, with these, Hollywood will do is they'll just be like, what will people come see? They won't come see, because this movie was about Paul Thomas Anderson not quite knowing how to deal with his own racial fetishism, connecting to his daughter, and just doing like a family.
Oh, is his daughter Black?
His wife is Black, and his wife is Maya Rudolph. From
okay, so his daughter is like,
well, Maya Rudolph got some. Them jeans, you never know, but
yeah. Let me see. I'm just saying, because Maya Rudolph is like 1/16 at this point,
status, yeah.
Because her mom is like Diana Ross or something. Is
it? It might be. Somebody, Let
me see. Sorry, Minnie Riperton.
Minnie Riperton. Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Tracy Ellis Ross is Diana Ross's daughter.
Yes. Okay. That's what. Yeah.
And so a lot. That's what the movie was really doing, right? The book it's based on has no Black people in it.
See, and this is. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You are probably already going where.
Yeah. I might be going a different place than you, because I think that this is almost maybe giving, it's not context, but it's giving Paul Thomas Anderson. I think this is less malicious and more neglectful, if anything. So there's a couple of moving pieces. There's a couple of moving pieces here, and I think this is something that happens frequently with movies. I think that what happened is, and I'm taking this in the context of two things. So this is the second movie that Paul Thomas Anderson has adapted from a Thomas Pynchon book. And if you read Pynchon's books, as well as watch like Paul Thomas Anderson's movies in general, they exist in a world where kind of everybody is a nasty little creepy fuck up. That's kind of what the world is. Everybody's got a weird. It's similar. It's very similar to The Boys. If you watched like the way Eric Kripke creates a world, there is nobody that's not a fucking pervert, weirdo, dumbass. Everybody's just super stupid, super hectic. They're always just trying to blow something up. They're very, because it keeps the plot moving, and it's very Hunter S. Thompson. So in Vineland, what is interesting to me is the character that Perfidia Beverly Hills is based on, which is called Frenessy Gates, is a white woman, but her character is actually even more fucked up and more dick hungry than Perfidia's character. So what I think happened is there was this story of super dumb hypersexual revolutionaries that is a criticism of the 1960s hippie culture. But what happened is Paul Thomas Anderson needed to bring it to our modern context, which removed the distinction between hippies and the Reagan years. Mm-hmm. So that context was stripped out. And then he made the Frenessy character Black, and then made that whole plot point of the ambiguous child the main plot point. And so again, maybe I'm giving credit here, accidentally created all of these plot points that happen to line up with a series of Jezebel stereotypes around Black women. I don't think that was built into it because I think it was already built into the story. And just when you insert a Black woman into it, now it creates a stereotype. So like, for instance, if you were to take Shameless and make everybody Mexican, that's probably now a racist fucking show. But you make them all white and it's like, okay, cool, is whatever. You got a bunch of white people living in a house.
And that's kind of where I somewhat disagree in that I won't say it was completely malicious, but I think we got to turn negligence up to like
it's
willfully
very negligent.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like willfully disregarding. You know what I'm saying? I think you could have
willfully disregarded. That's interesting. Yeah.
Right. Because I think you could have easily gotten freaking give me a white actress. She's in a movie now.
Dakota Johnson.
Shaved her hair bald. Dakota Johnson.
No, I know you're talking about Emma not Watson.
Yeah. That's Emma Stone. Watson. Emma Stone.
Emma Stone and Dagonia. Yeah.
You could have taken Emma Stone, dyed half her hair blue, right? And had the same critique of kind of vapid.
Oh, absolutely. It would have maybe even worked better.
Activity. And it would have worked. Exactly. It would have worked better. You would have sidestepped all these stereotypes and representational issues that you don't really know about or have enough care to avoid. You could have said the exact same things, but I think
you think he wanted that character to be a Black.
He wanted that character to be Black because
interesting
because the core
you're probably right.
One of the core conceits of the movie is him juxtaposing himself, which is Ghetto Pat, with Lunchbox Lockjaw. And so both of them have issues. Both of them have issues with fetishizing Black women, but that
seems like it was added after the fact. But the fact that he's married to a Black woman is interesting. Yeah. Okay. So you think I did hear him talking about the conceit of this movie. So he's like, I wanted to do another penchant movie. I wanted to do Vineland, but then he says, but I had all these other half movies written, and so I smushed them together. So I'm like, he maybe already had a Black woman fetishizer movie in the draft and was like, how can I make that movie in this too? Because
I think he accidentally I don't think he realized how deep he was in his fetishism bag in the movie. So, and that's the negligence I'll give is knowing enough about like being a sociologist, gender guy. The race play stuff in this movie,
crazy.
What is it? Is it this?
I can't even remember what that would mean. Is that
he clocked it?
Yes. Okay.
He clocked himself. In
I see.
The way that the right-wing men who are obsessed with and fetishize Black women, the way that Lockjaw does, and the way they flip, and the way it's it's almost like completely compartmentalized is really accurate. The kind of lackadaisical, so there's two versions of it. And this is something he did. This is like, I wish he would have been more careful because this would have been interesting stuff to like pull out and discuss. So we have Pat, right?
Yep.
Pat's fetishism is positive stereotype versions. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, this Black woman is strong and dynamic and amazing and fearless. And
do you feel like Pat's behavior was fetishizing though?
Yes, that's kind of what the movie does that I think I like is that he looks at things that are fetishizing that in our common discussions around them just come off as praise. You know, I love the Black woman, you know, I love it, but like no, in reality, Pat didn't see Perfidia as any more whole of a person than Lockjaw did. He just saw a different side. He just celebrated a different aspect. Can
you lean in on evidence? Because I'm open to this. So as you said,
So that first conversation is very purposeful. He's in the car. He's like, you know, do you think he liked Black girls? He's like, of course, I love Black girls. What do you think I'm here for? Like that was his chance, right? The way he doesn't see her postpartum situation, and he's like trying to take this woman who clearly let you know she was a fearless revolutionary is like, oh, but we have a family now. You know what I'm saying? Later in the movie, the really most revealing one, he's like, I don't even know how to do my daughter's hair.
Man, I had that line. I did have that line in my head. I was like, that fucking stuck out. So are those the three? And I don't want
those are the three main ones that stick in my head right now.
And I don't want to like nail down on this one because I want to hear the rest of the takes and stuff. But to me, the postpartum thing, that's a man to any woman thing. To me, that's not racially coded in any way in my view. But the first one, that to me felt like that was the character just responding to the energy. And this goes back to some of the points that I think you made about like Jungle Pussy and shit like that, which is like that moment to me is a moment that happens in real life. There's a white man on the internet who he gets a shape up, and all of a sudden there's a certain group of people that will have a big like, oh my God, Chris Evans likes black women, whatever. And then there's a bit of a flare up about that. But most of his character, tell me if I'm lying, but most of his character.
I just forgot about Chris Evans like black women as like a meme for a while.
For like 6 months, that was a thing, and then that was nothing. But all of the things that his character actually does, I will give you the line about the I don't know how to do her hair thing.
Yeah,
but I think that the other two aren't really much of anything. Those are like one was put on him, and the other one is a man.
I'd have to go back and really give it more time. Yeah, but to me, what really drives it home is when they meet in the grocery store. When no, Pat
Lockjaw
meets
walks
with
up
Lockjaw
on him,
in the grocery store, and I think we're meant to see the juxtaposition, but also pick up on the fact that they're not as different as Pat would like to think they are. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's Paul Thomas Anderson both critiquing himself, but also critiquing what he feels like he's at least not. Does that make sense? Where he's like, look, I'm
at least not Lockjaw.
Exactly. I'm engaged with some of my isms here, but I also want to be clear, like, look at how bad it could be. You know what I'm saying? And Lockjaw, he completely clocks. Like that's that type of, again, that right wing men love oppressed women of oppressed identities, whether they're trans, black, going
someone
and
to
buying,
save.
Someone not just
a good one.
Not to save. No, it's not even to save. It's just the people that well, that might be it.
Okay.
Let me get.
But no,
I feel like right wing men like. To them, this a power thing.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the ghetto Pats, not the Lockjaw.
No. The Lockjaw. Is it Lockjaw? I'm about to mess that up all day. I did. Okay, good. And so I say all that to say this is again my take and analysis.
So you're right. Not save. I thought that you were talking about the soft boy version.
Understanding that he wanted to tease out that particular dynamic of fetishism versus celebration. Is it really that different? At the end of the day, to the person, I think it was a very intentional decision to change this white character that, like, to the detriment of the movie. Not just in terms of like, are black people going to be mad at the way that this can't come across, but also Emma Stone versus Tiana Taylor in a movie is it's just some box office, results, right?
I don't know, man. I definitely came in part because Tiana was in the movie.
I came in part.
That, yeah.
You pull, and this is something.
Whereas you think Emma Stone has more pull. Yeah. I don't like. I kind of agree, but I just feel like the movie was cooler for having some black people in it. If I'm being honest, I just think it was a better movie. Save for the reasons that they were there, but Regina Hall, Chase Infinity, even Alonzo Barksdale or whatever. Like, I wish his character had some more lines.
His third line in the movie.
Man!
Oh my God!
Working white woman. What
did he say? I don't hear.
He made it like a Pokemon. He was like, working white woman. What are we doing? It was totally unnecessary. But I think that.
But no, actually, you're kind of right though, because that gets back to my whole woke washing point, which is like, Hollywood will throw woke. I think I made a comparison to Superman in the movie in my video. Superman, they're specifically trying to respond to and reject the Superman from Nate. What's this dude's name? The previous Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's Superman was like objectivist, fountainhead, Ayn Randian, take on the character.
The world,
inherently, not like on some alt-right, far-right stuff, but it's inherently right-wing, objective esteem. And so they got to the room, the production room today, and said, okay, how do we cleanse ourselves of that? Or what if Superman stops the genocide? You know what I'm saying? So it's very cynical at the end of the day. Is it all out bad? Not necessarily. It's good to have had people engage with the fact that Superman would be pro-Palestine if he existed today, right? And I've heard like Palestinian and Middle Eastern, activists speak to being happy about that representation and that being meaningful. But you also still tease out the fact that Hollywood in and of itself doesn't actually care about Palestinians or America's military apparatus, because they made, instead of like engaging with why what were they called? The Dom Kippurs, like, and whatever they were called in that, that sounded Jewish.
That's crazy. Yeah, because you definitely just said the Yom Kippurs, but if they're like,
I'm not beating the hotel allegation.
They're kind of G'd up, like
right.
The Dom Kippurs.
The people responsible for the genocide in the movie are corollaries for Elon Musk and
Yo, that's
Vladimir
crazy.
Putin.
Yo, I just sorry. We got Jay Electronica in the building. Let's go.
Is it like with Jay Electronica's ghost, the ghost of Soldier Slim is all over the
yes,
video.
indeed. It's okay. Sorry. Continue.
But yeah, so instead of and that's fine, right? Overall, it's fine. But I just want people. I feel like it's important, especially in this political moment, that people, because revolution and resistance, especially under Trump, is going to get more and more a hotbed, like creative area, right? It's going to be more and more of that. But it's also going to be very insidiously co-opted as well, where you have this image of it's very clear Perfidia's character was based on Assad Shakur. And that's gross. That's really gross. The comparisons are inescapable in my opinion.
Okay.
You know what I'm
saying? There's a lot of parallels.
There's a lot of so
because I don't know them off the top of my head. So yeah.
Asada, Black Liberation Army, Perfidia, French 75. Asada goes to jail for allegedly killing a police officer. Perfidia goes to jail for
the security guard.
Asada has her child in prison. Perfidia has her child right before, right after. You know what I'm saying? Right during or whatever. Asada, so it's all like Asada goes to South America, Perfidia goes to South America. Did
Perfidia go to South America?
Well, she left to brown people land. I don't know exactly where she went.
Did she? We don't know where she went.
No, it said Mexico or Peru or something. I remember there being a sign. She definitely went to a
okay.
brown...
Yeah, she was walking somewhere. My fault. Yeah, if that was that, those feel like a bit of a stretch, because that feels like because the character in the book does most of those things. So it's if you take away black, is she anything like Assata Shakur?
No, but like if you take away black, half of our conversation changes. You know what I'm saying? So like you can't.
That's true, but I feel like you need more
parallels. Like, is it so? Like, do I think they wanted you to say this is Assata? This is our interpretation of Assata Shakur.
Okay,
I don't think they wanted that, but do I think they looked to the story of Assata Shakur and said,
borrowed from that?
We can use this as elements to punch up the revolutionary aesthetics of this character. I do, and I think the end result is that. And I've seen this. There are a lot of people who don't know any better comparing those two characters. You know what I'm saying? Or comparing the character to the real life person.
And look, she did die right on the back of it. And look, I'm not trying to die on that hill. I think that it's like there's probably lots of revolutionaries that you could pick. And I'm like, because she's woman and she's black, we're going that's that one. But I'm like, and I see your point about if you take out the black, then we're having a different conversation. But to me, to say that they really took inspiration, you have to have some undeniably unique to Assata inspirations. Not like if you have any character who needs to escape, there's nowhere in America you're going except for brown people land.
We're talking about having a baby, shooting a security guard.
Fair.
Having a baby like in jail.
That's from the book.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll give you that.
The whole plot point of like them of like the love triangle with the baby, that's from the book.
Well, I know that part's from the book. I know the love triangle with the baby is from the book. Did she have a baby? Because I thought in the book, and I haven't read it, that she never was a revolutionary herself, that she was just a filmmaker, and she meets Lockjaw's character and immediately turns.
So she's a member of the film collective, which is like 24 frames per second, which is like the analog to the French 75 in the movie. I'm pretty sure. And but she is a member of them, and then she flips. So she is still like a rat, but she's I guess a little bit more adjacent than Perfidious' character. So that is a good point. Yeah, that's fair.
Because in the book she's not a like Perfidious clearly a leader, revolutionary about that life type person. Again, like Asada, she has as many similarities, narratively speaking, especially since she only spends 20 minutes in the movie, to Asada as the actual character from the book, who I understand is much more in the book than Perfidious' character is in this movie.
Well, you're saying the Frenesi character?
Yeah. Doesn't she have a lot more time in the book than Perfidia has in the movie?
Yeah, she does, and she's in it throughout it. But I will say that so I have two. Okay, yeah, sorry, I asked this question later because that's
I want to pause real quick.
Yeah,
because I saw somebody in the chat. And I want to be clear. I wore I said this in my little video. I wore like a smart health watch.
Oh yeah,
the movie was so engaging and like kept me on the edge of my seat that I burned, according to the watch. I don't think this actually happened, but the watch thought I was working out. I burned, like, according to the watch, an extra like 2,000 calories just sitting there in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
It was a good fucking movie.
So it's a good movie, and we can do that, bro. And have this conversation.
The little sister beacons, when he set that up, when the Mexican dude set, also shout out to the Mexicans in this movie because they was efficient, the Mexicans bro. About that them life, niggas they had everything. They had the technology together. They had the karate. They had the weapons. They had the escape routes and the fucking hatches and shit. It's great. But when he had those little sister beacons that sung a tune together, as soon as he set that up, I was like, the payoff for this is going to be so fucking great because they've made it into a physical cinematic representation of the trust between a parent and a child and the way that gets lost and reestablished. And I was like, I can't wait for that scene. They did a pretty good job of it, but I was very happy for when he walks up the hill.
More dramatic. Maybe
me too.
Like that. I was waiting for like them to not know what was about to happen and to have that like swell moment. And then like, it's there. You know what I'm saying? But instead, it
that's what I was expecting.
More straightforward, which is still good.
It was still good, but when she was sitting in the convent and she's there scared and she doesn't know where her dad is and she's hugging the beacon and the red glow of it is just painting half of her face. I'm like, ooh, man, when she gets into a car accident in the third act of this movie and that red slowly flickers into green and she realizes she's safe again, I was like, this shit is going to hit. But he didn't do it that way. But I was like, that would have been, I'm waiting for that big swell payoff of, my parent is here. I'm safe again. A person that I can trust is here. I'm safe again. But I think he still did pretty good with like the musical.
He still did great with everything. At the end of the day, again, it's and that's kind of the thing. I'm stealing from Dr. Jared Ball with this take, but like it's because these filmmakers are so good, and because the studios behind them are so bad, so to speak. Like their intentions are money and serving empire first and everything else second, that we have to be able to on one end recognize, engage with, and appreciate the artistry, and then also extrapolate the politics.
Speaking of the politics, this is the biggest question that I have before going on into some other elements of the movie, and even some stuff I've seen in the chat. But you said in your critique that there was no leftist politics in this, only liberal. And I was trying to like look up and kind of get a better understanding for where the two kind of fall apart. And some of the definitions that I found surprised me because I tended to just think of liberal as being a kind of pro-corporatist version of progressive and leftist being a little bit more deconstructive. But then as I looked at it, just actually maybe even confused me more.
And so, you probably are getting as a classical liberalism, which is a little different. I wouldn't even call the politics. So I only call.
Wait, sorry. Just before you answer the question fully, I'll say, kind of contained within my question is, for me as a arguably kind of a layman, when I was watching characters who were willing, competent at, and successful at using what we would call violence to disrupt systems of what they view as oppression. So blowing up the political offices of anti-choice politicians, raiding and blowing up detention centers, speaking candidly about just open borders as a policy. those characters being made then and then robbing banks in order to fund this process, those characters being made like kind of lovable but maybe goofy folk heroes, to me was actually quite shocking. Like I was surprised they did in that movie, because to your point about woke washing, I know there's a long question, sorry. To your point about woke washing, it felt like usually characters like that end up taking the safe, let's change the system from the inside route. Like when we're talking about 15 million merits, or we're talking about Black Panther, violence against the state is like almost never explored as a legitimate thing for a non-evil character to do in any movie that I've seen in the last 20 years. So looking at that, I was like, oh, this is crazy. So
so I see what you're saying, but that's like, so I take exactly what you're saying, and then I actually keep pushing it further into a different space in that. So if you actually look at like the work and the legacy of a lot of prominent leftists, especially in America, violence against the state in the way they're doing it is not really what they were about. Like the Black Panthers weren't out there robbing banks. You know what I'm saying?
The French 75 is based off Weather Underground. So
right.
And
like Fred or Huey, one of them, low-key would throw shade at the Weather Underground, being like, that is sloppy, reckless stuff that leads to anything but exactly essentially what happened. And so that's kind of, and that,
but Huey shit led to the same thing. So
Huey, see, the Weather Underground
and Fred,
they got murdered by the state, versus the Weather Underground, like they got murdered unlawfully. Oh, sorry, Huey got unlawfully in prison. There's so much to say about whether or not he was tortured and brainwashed when he was in prison, because he was never the same out of it. That's getting into lore and conspiracy theory, so I don't want to lean too much into that. And then Fred was murdered by the police, like in his bed. So they were killed by the state because the state recognized them as threats. The Weather Underground started doing dumb shit and was hunted down. She's inspired by.
Also, shout out to Nighttail Phoenix for the fact check, because that's what I was looking for.
I wish I'd have seen this before I did my video, because I'd have pulled that up. Send me a link for that, because I can still put that in the editing. Nighttail Fox, if you can find some links for that, I'll put that in the editing, because I talk about it, but I don't. What was I saying? But it's so here's the thing that is the real thing about it. So we have discrepancy in the historical like validity of that type of action being good,
useful, productive.
Productive. This is not to say that I'm against the idea of anti-state violence as a part of a revolutionary action, because that might be what's necessary considering the situation. But the people that they're kind of emulating, that is not who they would have been, right? Further, but that image of like revolutionary action of like this gung-ho fun band of brothers type stuff is very much a liberal, unengaged, unorganized vision of what revolution must be. It's Hunger Games. You know what I'm saying? We have this
we're blowing shit up. We're having
beautiful people. Everybody's a model.
It's a young adult sci-fi,
right? Yeah, and I think that was. I actually think that was a depending on. I won't die on this hill, but I actually think that was a relatively good, like insight into the flaws of modern leftist ideology. But with everything else, I was just not willing to give it as much credit. I also don't like how everybody snitched. But I get that's part of the book. My Hotep hat cannot get over the fact that only white people got killed on screen that were part of the
I saw you say that, but who white got killed? Who was white even in the movie besides Licorice Pizza and Leonardo?
Some random white guy. I don't remember. He didn't have many lines. There was a white guy. He was a driver. He got
shot.
Yeah, he got shot. He was running down like from stairs. And he got shot in the back.
Oh, you're right. I remember that. Yeah.
And then Licorice Pizza.
And then the lady,
girl that's like white worker lady,
from Haim, yeah. The lady from Haim, yeah.
And she got shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we don't see Jungle Pussy get shot. We don't see Devon Barksdale get shot.
That feels like a stretch because we see Barksdale get shot as much as we see the white dude get shot, which is like from behind some stairs, he's faced away. You know what I mean?
I took a note of this. Barksdale put on the mask and they cut. We don't see him get shot at all. As far as we know, he's still alive.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I guess what I'm, fair. I can see that. What I meant was the nature of his death feels equally depersonalized, is what I was saying.
So I'm
like the woman. I'll give you that. We see her face, we see her going through a day, and then we see her get shot in the head, and the whole audience responds to it. Right. Barksdale, his shooting, we cut away. The white guy running down the stairs, he gets shot in the back looking away. I didn't even remember who that was. To me, those are equally depersonalized. Maybe even more so with the stairs. I feel like it's only two examples.
It's not the depersonalization to me. To me, it's so we have this. What I'm getting at is that there's this juxtaposition between the black-led revolutionaries who kind of suck. Everybody snitches. They have no their security apparatus is trash, except for the one dude with the lights and whatnot.
He was Mexican.
Right, and he was Mexican, and then we have the Mexicans, and this is valid. The Mexican resistance is what the Panthers were trying to get to, right? They were.
There's a history of that. I'm sure there is, but is that born from a real history of like the Zapatistas and shit? I don't know. Yeah,
I'm not that. I'm still baby on a lot of ways. I know the full history, but I know that the ethos of a lot of those black radicals from that era was we need to build tight-knit, well-organized, flexible communities for resistance. And that's still what people are trying to do today. Because the reason why the Mexicans were so good is because they were all in code, they were organized, they had plans, backup plans, backup plans.
Oh man.
And they were and they were imbued in a communal practice. You know what I'm saying? And that is what the most likely viable resistance is going to look more like that and less like posturing, cool costumes, blowing stuff up, making a show of things. And so I like that juxtaposition in general. It does bother me that the bad side of it is black, because historically speaking, that's the only people who have done it well or have done it at all in this country. And so it was like, all right, well, why would you? It's kind of like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example, but it's basically like, why would you take, if we know there's a historical context to this, why would you take the context that exists and invert it? You know what I'm saying? And
I think that sorry, go ahead.
No, that's pretty much it.
Well, okay. I just want to actually, I'm not even going to make the point that I was going to make in response to that. I'll just ask this other question. Because my initial question was about why you said there were no leftist politics in it. And your answer was mostly about why the strategies here were ineffective, which is fair, but a different kind of thing.
But there's also no actual leftist politics. There's no references to any leftist theory, any leftist like quotes, any left, like there's nothing there to like even say.
You don't think the pro-choice and I don't know, because I don't know where the line is between.
When I say leftist politics, when I say leftist politics, I don't mean no borders, pro-choice, etc. Those are leftist political positions. I mean like referring to the Weather Underground, even or freaking Marx, Hegel, Huey, like any of the people that if that group existed, and especially people like that are really bombastic, they're going to be quoting these philosophers.
But they did. I mean, they did like because they. One. Okay, wait, and tell me if I'm wrong. And I know Gil Scott is probably not. I don't know if we would count him in that thing.
They did the most entertaining part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The catchy one.
I mean. But they did quote. Okay, are we saying that we aren't counting Gil Scott-Heron in a sort of leftist artistic tradition? If that's what you're saying,
no. So I'm saying using a Gil Scott-Heron quote to aestheticize. I've never gotten this word well. Aestheticize. Thank you. Using a Gil Scott-Heron quote to aestheticize the leftists in your movie is like using the Lil Wayne quote to let you know this guy likes rap music. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, hold on. But now you're moving the goalpost into a different thing. Like you're saying that.
So when I say, I guess what I'm getting at, to me, that is evidence of what does a liberal think leftists looks and sounds like. You kind of get me
okay,
there?
but yes, but I'm just trying to nail back down on the initial premise. So if we're saying yes, they were leftists, but they were shitty, dumb, bad depictions of leftists, cool. I think it's just really sticking in my head that you said there's no leftist politics, and then I was like, oh well, there's this, and then you were like, well, that's leftist political concepts, and then so it's like, well, they didn't quote leftists. Well, yes, they have. So
what I would be looking for is, so let's take even, and I don't like what he does with it, but let's take even Black Panther, right? Black Panther refers to Pan-Africanism. And, you know what I'm saying? And not just in aesthetics, well, greatly in aesthetics, but also in like the philosophy behind the movie. So to me, Pan-Africanism presents leftist politics like in earnest on some level, not just like the aesthetics. Now, what they do with it is still more fucked up, right? But that's like the level, that's like the lowest possible level I would think to qualify. But then you have something like Sorry to Bother You, where that's a clear commentary on, you know, the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie. So like those are leftist movies to me. Those are movies with leftist politics. Those are
okay, wait. So are you saying that the movie wait. I'm trying to translate this into something that bridges this in my own head. Are you saying that the movie itself didn't have a leftist message? Is that what you're saying? Or am I still not quite getting it?
And not only did it not have a leftist message, which is not the key thing, they didn't really engage critically with a leftist politic. So not political positions, but like were the French 75, were they Maoists? Were they anarchists? Were they Marxist Leninists? Were they just democratic socialists that got froggy with it? Like who was their guy?
So they didn't clarify their larger position.
Yeah, they didn't clarify any position at all. So you can come away with the movie, and this is kind of, and so this is very much maybe a niche critique for like people who are involved in like explicitly leftist political spaces and like creative spaces. You can present leftist politics in a work and not quote anybody, right? But when you completely employ leftist aesthetics and don't tie that aesthetic to anything specific, alarms go off for me.
So like, for instance, if they were to have like longer form conversations where they're talking about means of production or just having a conversation around what we believe in.
One of these scenes where Perfidia is getting ready to hump or shoot something, if she had just said something about, you know, did they say? I feel like they may have had an all power to the people moment. They may have said that once.
They did have. I think they might have had that, but I do remember in the bonfire when after the firing range session, they're sitting by the fire, and I think the Mexican tech guy is having a conversation around something, and he was talking through a concept.
Yeah. So like if we just take that moment and let it be the center of the scene as opposed to
not
like
a background
in media res background thing. And I'm probably less critical about that.
I think I'm starting to kind of see where you're getting at a bit more.
At the end of the day, what it feels like is almost like my culture is not a costume type shit.
Yes. Okay. No. I get you. I get you. Because in Black Panther, we actually at least see what's his
like
name?
half of Killmonger's ethos is based in Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying?
He's actually talking through an idea.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
The speech at the end is, I often people read that, and fairly, because it is like horrible that he's like giving the CIA vibranium. But I've always read that speech as having dual meanings, and that speech, if you listen, is on some Pan-African unity amongst Black people shit. We are all one tribe. To me, that was not like all lives matter. That was when Black Panther comes out, we're at the end of the Obama era. We're starting at the beginning of ADOS. You know what I'm saying? And so like it's meant, and then like knowing how much other Pan-African symbology is in the movie, I think that's where he was going with that. So like, yeah, we need that. I need to be able to use this, and again, this is within my niche space. I need to be able to pull the movie out and explain to you the Marxist or socialist or whatever Hegelian framework within it for me to say this movie has a leftist message. What I see here is the costume. Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man, Hobie Brown, Spider-Punk. Spider-Punk is like everything he does in that movie is based in the most valid representation of anarchism that you've probably ever seen in mainstream media. And so that allows for me to teach. That allows, like, my sons now, like, I explained anarchism to them because we watched that movie. And I broke down Spider-Punk's movements and behaviors and the things he's done to explain the actual politics of what he represents on screen. Aside from being,
I feel like that's asking,
I mean, it's probably asking a lot.
But that's asking a lot of this movie, because, like, I also think that this movie...
Last thing, to kind of make reason why that makes sense.
Absolutely.
For my audience, right, who are like, I thought this is a leftist movie, I have to let them know, no. For a general audience, cool. Does that make sense? Yeah, look,
I can't even fight you too tough on it. I'm just like, the movie... Okay, I'll maybe just piggyback this into another point, which is that I do think that as I watched the movie, it moved so quickly, and it was so, meanwhile, back at the farm, like 17 different like layers, plate spinning, shit juggling happening at the same time, which was great. It's good for keeping a nigga like me focused in on the movie. There were really no characters in this movie at all. Like, I would say that the most developed person in the entire thing.
I'm sorry, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I'm good.
Rohan, go get in the bed.
Let me see what we're saying in the chat. Let's see. Hampton, we're just addressing your point real quick. My point is, my earlier point, if you're addressing something that I said, is that in that movie, Killmonger was portrayed as the villain. That violence against the state is viewed as the bad guy thing. And I thought that was quite, to me, super revolutionary of this movie, to be like, yeah, no, the guys who are blowing up banks, they are unambiguously the good guys in this movie. But sorry, the point that I was making,
buffoons, go white girl.
They are buffoons, which is core to the point that I'm making here, which is that there's kind of, in a Paul Thomas Anderson adaptation of a penchant movie, everybody's a fucking dumbass. Even the best character is a fucking idiot. Even Benicio del Toro, even though he's like hyper competent, he's doing it in a goofball Yoda, like he's not even clocking danger way. Right. Like, his character is still meant to be funny. Even his competence is meant to be funny.
What's the guy with the mustache that, like, the hat? Silent movies.
Oh, Charlie Chaplin. I was about to say Hitler, but I was like, nah, no, that's not who you're talking about. But
Jay Electronica is still in the chat. Jay Electronica.
Bro, the 3 albums, I can't wait to, because I think he's gonna drop another, like, a fourth project on top of this.
I didn't love the new music, and then, like, a lot of it was just re-released mixtape stuff. I didn't love the new music, but I haven't sat with it yet.
There was a couple of songs on there that I was like, yeah, I like this, because I like a couple to some extent. I really enjoy the vibe of it as a soundtrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's good. It's a good, I don't know. It's a good energy. It's a good sort of like almost meditative.
And he's also like,
the movie tracks in the background, I'm like, this is taking me to a particular place that
Ronald Reagan starting the album off.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And Jay Electronica is not afraid to not sound like I love that Jay Electronica is like, I'm not putting Playboy Cardi on one of my songs. Like, I'm only making like hardcore meditation rap that I've been making for the last
meditation rap. I love some meditation rap. I love rap that feels like it's borderline spoken word, but it's not trash, because most spoken word music is just horrible. Yeah. But I love it when it's like, I'm just talking to you. This is a letter. This is a letter to you. And I
tell me more about your mom, Jay. Like, what else your mom say?
Bro, man, your mom is deep, bro. all praise is due to Allah, and fucking Better in Tune with the Infinite are two of the best goddamn songs I've heard in the last like 5 years. I fucking love both of those tracks.
I gotta go back and listen to see which ones those are.
All praise is due to Allah is his track with Jay-Z, where they both talk about losing their mothers, and he has some bars in there that I'm like, ooh, crazy. He says, whenever I get low, I look back through our message threads when I need a refill. You know what I'm saying? And like, the last time I kissed you, you look cold, but you look peaceful. I was like, ooh, shit, this is His my mom is dead bars are unparalleled.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
I just personally I struggle with the constant. I've never met, and I know NOI dudes.
Oh
I've
yeah,
known NOI dudes my whole life. I've never met an NOI dude that
who's
loves Farrakhan more than
that
Jay
much.
Electronica.
Oh,
That man got Farrakhan tattooed on his face.
Look, to be fair, Farrakhan rhymes with a lot of shit. It's just good. It's just good for the occupation. It's just necessary. Okay, but what I was going to get at is I think that in this movie, there's kind of no real characters. And so I think we're kind of leaning quite hard on, like, I pretty much agree with all of your points. And I think that, you know, if I shoot a bunch of bullets and one of them hits you, you're only really concerned with the one that hits you, which is fair. That's reasonable. So it's like in a 3-hour-long movie, there's a 15-minute sequence where you have made one of these goofballs a black woman whose traits, while taken from the book, have fall into parallel structure with a black woman stereotype. A bullet hits us. So it's like, cool, I have a fucking problem. I'm hit. And
you know what? And I was almost okay until Jungle Pussy.
No, okay, like I'm gonna get into this one too. The issue that I think I take that, or maybe not even issue, is that none of the characters are really well developed. So when we're looking at the movie to judge, like, what is this movie going to give us? It's just fast paced. No one sits for long enough for us to really get an idea of who they are as a person. Even Perfidia, we get like, cool, she's got postpartum depression. Maybe she's fucking lockjaw out of some power dynamic thing, not because she wants to, but because she's trying to save the day. Because it is a sexual assault.
It is a sexual assault. That's another thing that, like,
explain.
She's coerced into a sexual relationship. That counts as sexual assault. He threatens her freedom.
Yeah,
he threatens her.
Right. See, to me, and maybe this is me being apologist, because I feel like the argument that her character was not in a position of consent or that it was a coerced power dynamic. I think there's a lot of strength to that, because in general, the powerful right-wing white man black dominatrix thing in our real world is based on a power dynamic that is imaginary, and it exists for the pleasure of white men. And I think, like, every white dominatrix, black dominatrix I've talked to will say, like, you know, if you really talk to them, it's like, I don't really have the power. What we're doing is a theater where you like to feel, but it's like, we walk out of these doors, we walk out of this bedroom. Fuck, even if the cops were to show up in this bedroom, you have the power. But you want the theater of being dominated by this regal entity that you've imbued me with. And I'm willing to get paid off of that, but I don't have the power, really. And so I'm with. But when I look at how the story, that wasn't spelled out for us very well to me. I think that we have to add a lot of interpretation. Because in the movie, she could have easily, like, I don't know why she didn't do this. She could have just fucking killed him. That motherfucker was by himself. Why didn't she just fucking shoot him? Now, the movie could have given us reasons why she made that decision, but to me, the movie made us feel like she was interested in him sexually, that there was energy. And even Tiana Taylor, when she talks about the experience of those two characters, she doesn't say anything like she was coerced, she was trying to save the revolution. She doesn't. She says that there was something about Lockjaw that was this sort of like, he's meeting my energy. And so there's an attraction there. Those are her words. Yeah. So the idea that this is like just power dynamic shit to me doesn't land.
And that's kind of my point, is that, like, when you say that's a bullet, right? If you do that, you're going to get people pissed off. If you put a black woman in a dubiously consensual, disempowered sexual relationship, you're going to get people saying, why do that to Emma Thomas? Leave us out of it. Don't put us in that position to catch those strays.
And I think that's totally fair. I think that's kind of, that I completely agree with.
Yeah, because it's more, as a story, it's more interesting, right, to play with those elements. But
of race, you mean, or
of not just race, but also like consent and desire and taboo and all of that. I get why
that's what the book is. Yeah, right. Because that's core to the book.
From a storytelling standpoint. Just, you got to know when you cross the line, and you don't cross it twice. One thing is, two things I want to get at real quick.
Don't cross it twice.
Yeah. Give it her. No, you got to cross it twice. That's my. Have you heard that phrase?
I've heard that phrase, but not. I've heard it as a knot. But continue.
I got it from some comedian, maybe Daniel Tosh,
Mm.
in a talk.
Cross it twice.
Which
Okay,
is like,
that makes sense.
you cross the line, and you cross the line one time, it's like, yo, you crossed the line. But once you cross the line a second time, it becomes farce and farcical, and it ends up being amusing and funny, right? And so Daniel Tosh would that's what he said he would try.
Yeah, Tosh.0, yeah.
Tosh.0, right? You know, so Daniel Tosh would maybe come off racist, but it would go so much further into racism or sexism that it was almost impossible to laugh. Dave Chappelle does it as well. He doesn't do it as much as he used to. He used to be crossing the line now.
Andrew Schultz thinks he's doing it.
Andrew Schultz thinks he does it. Yeah, let's rape a black man. I was like,
I mean, look, my take on Schultz has largely been, I have no issue with farce, which I think a lot of people do. I don't mind you crossing the line twice and making an edgy joke. I actually like that. Most of the people that follow our channel don't like that. I have a problem when you're not joking. Schultz actually voted for Trump. So he wasn't, that's not farce. Yeah.
And so that's where it becomes, so that's when you get into danger zone. So like I have had a lot of people say, well, this is satire, And one, satire doesn't immunize you from critique if you just do the thing, right? If your satire relies on you putting just the thing on screen, you may put the thing on screen and then point to it. So you may have a
stereotype.
You may have Lockjaw play into this image of right-wing white men fetishizing black women. But if in the process he enters into a dubiously consensual relationship with a hypersexual black woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, then it's like satire word. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think it's. Sorry,
but the other thing is somebody mentioned Jungle Pussy being her rap name. Yeah, and that's what made me write a video. Because that is the
you don't think that changed things?
No, that woman has 100,000. Go ahead.
Okay, two things. Jungle Pussy being her real name. Two, I also think that we have to kind of go like, to what extent are people participating in whatever this thing is?
Exactly.
And I'm like, Jungle Pussy, I might not be making the point that you think I'm making, but like, Jungle Pussy signed up for doing this, and I would be willing to bet you some amount of money she co-wrote that fucking that fucking bank monologue.
I will bet you as well.
I'd be willing to bet that she wrote that whole thing. Like Paul Thomas Anderson is not Quentin Tarantino. He doesn't write shit for black people to do. I think that he went to her, hey, you're gonna jump up on the counter and say some wild shit inspired by Pulp Fiction, or insert whatever, crazy wild female character. Jungle Pussy, if you would, Miss Pussy, please, Miss Jungle, would you please write a monologue for this? And I think that's what she came up with. I would be willing to bet you like $50.
And so I guarantee you, because I've listened to her music since then, it's pretty good. It's very much like elevated. What's the girl's name that everybody hated last year? Sexy Red. Name?
Oh, Sexy Red. Okay.
It's like if you mix Sexy Red.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like elevated sexy. It's like Sexy Red with soul beats. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it.
Shit, I shouldn't have said that during the live. Fuck, that's going. Fuck.
What?
That because they demonetize us every time. We can't say the hard ER like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just you run through. You can Google.
Oh yeah, I can chop it after. Yeah,
just chop it. So two things. One, it's his movie, right? And I don't. So she has 100,000 Spotify listeners a month. She is not that was not Beyonce or Doja Cat up there where like
she wasn't bringing clout to the movie. He saw her out.
Right. It's not just that. That's part of it. But this is an inside joke, right? And so people are saying, well, you can't make that criticism because this was actually a joke between these 7 people in the audience that recognize Jungle Pussy at any given time. Between these 4 people on set that get that reference, this pussy don't pop for you. Because 99% of the people watching the film are going to be like, okay, so a black woman gets on thing and starts yelling about her jungle pussy and black power. So at face value, you have to take it at face value. That's like,
it means what it means.
It means what it means in the moment. So like, if you have to explain, like if
see, I'm not viewing it as an explanation.
Right.
I'm viewing it as.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Please. Sorry. We both excited. I apologize.
Yeah. If me and you and a homie Mecky from the Netty, if we got a running joke that I call him a bitch ass nigga, You know what I'm saying? Between us, like in private, and then we go to like a party and get in front of some girls, and I start calling him a bitch ass nigga. The girls are so thick. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not, you can't use that defense.
I agree that it's not a defense. To me, it just changes what the conversation is. And to what we were saying before, I think now that you like, remember when earlier in the conversation, we were talking about how criticism of Perfidia is viewed as taking too critical of a lens to Black women, even though Perfidia is not a real person. She's a character written by a white man. I think that once we go, Paul Thomas Anderson didn't write this. A Black woman wrote this and decided, then I think we have to step back a little bit and go, as a non-Black woman, am I interpreting this right? Or is there some value to this differently because of the author? So now I'm saying there's a different lens to look at it and go, cool, it means something different, but Jungle Pussy wrote this, you know?
Yeah, I agree. In a robust discussion, that is a valid like part to engage with. And I'm not gonna get into respectability politics about Jungle Pussy and her name and her lyrics, nothing like that, because I like ratchet shit. Like I have no
which is where I think
that's
where I'm coming from. Yeah.
But we also have to, within the context of the movie, of just the film we watched. I watched Perfidia, to me, in embodying some Assata Shakur traits. But even if I don't do all of that, I watched a Black woman run between two white men, fucking while the bomb goes off, like all this hypersexual stuff that immediately pulls out these Jezebel Sapphire tropes. And then it ends with a Jungle Pussy monologue on top of a counter.
On a bank counter,
At that point, it's like, all right, you're really asking a lot of me, Paul Thomas Anderson. You know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is, like, you gotta talk to who you're talking to. Like, do you now go, are you willing to say that then to Jungle Pussy? I forget what her government name is, but like, are you willing to say that to Jungle Pussy? Because I think that's who you have. That's from what you're expressing. That's who you have issue with.
She may not know. She doesn't know what the rest of the movie is. You know what I'm saying? That was one.
Okay. Well, is there something on the other end of that movie that would have changed the context of what she said to make it particularly different?
So here's my director.
Like if Paul Thomas had written a different movie around the Jungle Pussy monologue, you'd been like, you know what? I'm with it.
I've probably been like, that was weird. Where are we going with this?
Okay.
But at that point, I was like, and now this? You kind of see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah,
like,
true.
Here's my recut of the movie. The recut of the movie is the whole front end happens exactly how it does. They kiss in the car, and then they fuck when the bomb go. Not when when he's like teaching her how to do the bombs, and she jumps on him, and then we have that moment, right? It's like, okay, she's a little randy with the revolutionary stuff.
Shayna McHale, thank you. Yeah, so they kept pressing that button of hyper. Yeah, you know what? Fair.
And so like when they kept pressing the button, and then we get the Jungle Pussy. That's the capstone. And then she kills the only other Black man in the movie.
Yeah.
The other Black man that appears on screen dies in the moment, like a dummy. So all right. So here's hotel. I'm full on Batman Hotel.
Look, the fact that Assata died right on the back of this getting fucking coming out in theaters is crazy. Like that actually is like I don't know. Like I don't want to put my hotel hat on, but I'm like, that seems like a PR move. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying Paul Thomas Anderson was involved, but like the fact that she died definitely probably boosted in some very indirect way the performance of this film. I would be willing to bet you good money that because she dies, there's more discourse about Black feminist leftist action. Tiana Taylor is on the poster, 100%. That is doing something for the movie's clout.
And her family, I don't know if they knew about the movie, but they didn't want to announce her death that weekend. I don't know if that's connected at all, but I like having made connections to people. Like I was late to talk about it because I was respecting, I knew like essentially the night before. And you know, it kind of made circles. And then I started actually reaching out to people because it wasn't confirmed. And people were telling me, yeah, don't say nothing though, because the family's trying to get in front of it, But by that afternoon, it was out. It was out. And then I went and saw the movie that night. Or maybe the night after. You know what I'm saying?
Well, case in point, man. It got you set. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. It's
possible. It's possible.
I don't know. But like maybe not. I'm not saying they. Yeah, let me not get too crazy. It's probably disrespectful. But anyway, one thing that I wanted to point out was when we were talking about just switching of that character's race, and then I want to talk about some other elements in the movie before we close out, depending on how much time you have. But the interesting thing about Frenessy Gates' character that turned into Perfidia Beverly Hills is she was a white woman, sure, but what's really interesting to me is the time period that Pynchon was writing in. He was writing under Reagan's America in the 1980s. He was
writing it during, or it's set during?
It's set during.
Okay.
And
when did he write
as a matter of fact, that's a good question. Let me see. But I think he wrote it in 97 or something like that. Let me see.
Okay.
1990. So he wrote it in 1990. So off the back of the Reagan years, so not that far removed. Like he would have lived through this. So he's writing about a time that he lived during. But the hippies that he's referring to, so that time switch that happens in the movie between like 2008 and 2025, in the book, it's between 1984 and like 1969. So it's like the Weather Underground and that kind of thing. So the character Frenessy Gates, and we could talk about the subliminal messages in these characters' names: Frenzy and Perfidious, Treachery, Woman, Eve, Pandora's Box, all that shit. But anyway, the character is meant to be a baby boomer white woman who was never really interested in the revolution shit. And so she was on some fake hippie shit, and she sells it out, and it's meant to be a criticism of baby boomer white women who were all for the hippie shit in the 60s, but went ahead and got their $1 million house and married their finance bro in the 1980s. That's what that character is meant to be lampooning. Yeah. So I think that one of the problems that gets presented here is,
oh my God, I love that movie because that's still happening now. I love Emma Stone.
I think if they had done like Emma Stone as a white woman from like Occupy Wall Street,
right,
who now is like a girl boss, like CEO or some shit, they could have made that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
but they decided to do something else.
I would love, and that's the thing that frustrated me about all of this. Now, I may have came across wrong, and again, the pitfalls of like critiquing anything Black woman related on screen is that I feel bad that Tiana, somebody said Tiana looked good. Tiana has leveled up as an actress. I'm so happy and proud for her, especially as a darker skinned Black woman getting these looks.
She's great. She's great.
And because I say this because today I watched Medea's Big Happy Family, which may have been one of her first movies in a Tyler Perry movie, and she's just this awful thing in the movie, and I'm like, man,
did you see 1001? What was it? It wasn't 1001 Arabian Nights, but it was something like that with her son.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't see that, but I could tell that was like Oscar baiting, and that she was probably getting off in that as well.
She was good in it, but the kid was so trash. I turned it off, but otherwise it would have been.
But like she's elevating, and like Regina King. I fucked up
Hall.
her name.
Yes, Regina Hall. But yes, so good.
Regina King was dope, and she don't get to do shit.
Hall. You still fucked it up. You corrected and still fucked it up. Regina King is Riley in them.
Regina Hall was good in this in the short time she had, and it's still fucked up. And I hate that so much of the discourse is about Black women's representation being problematic. When they were good, they acted well. The movie is still a good movie. There's still useful stuff in it. Queen Latifah. Somebody said Queen Latifah. Was I meant to? Did I fuck up Queen? I know I fuck up names. I'm just
who are we referencing? Queen Latifah.
I don't know. But yeah, you were about to say something else though before I jumped on that because I wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. Oh no. I think all I said. Was
we were talking about like how
Emma Stone. And
I am much more. I think that, and so everything is from my own biases. You know what I'm saying? Just to be clear. So my biases as a person. When we got Afro pessimism, the Hotep Elder Scrolls, I like all this stuff. This is me, right?
Yeah.
And my reaction was meant to be explicitly toward folks in my general realm.
In your community, yeah. Because the movie was multiple different things for other people.
Most of the people,
it's like you look at how conservative, like the cynical drinker and fucking nerd erotica or whatever, them niggas are tearing this to shreds, being like, oh, this is propaganda from the left, Right. But that doesn't mean that it is doing a good job across all of the things that are contained within that. How it's portraying women, how it's portraying Black people, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. So my bias
I'm with you.
And especially because I saw so much praise from white people up until that point, and nobody clocked
pushback.
There was nothing on the representation of Black women. And that just felt so icky. That was really just disappointing. That
You're right.
If you'd have just said, so there was some stuff in the beginning that I wonder how Black audiences are going to respond. That's all I need. Yeah. All I need is that you notice that there was some shit that might make.
Do you think anybody like whispered in his ear, like, "Hey, look, man, like Frenessy Gates was already maybe a problematic sort of like Lady Macbeth character to begin with. You don't think that maybe making her a Black woman is going to look even crazier? Like, do you think anybody said that to him?
Having had a pinch of time in Hollywood at this point.
Shout out for you, Donald T. I completely agree. Just because the right hates it doesn't mean it's good. Yeah.
Right. Having had just a smidgen of time in a Hollywood meeting or two since this YouTube shit started.
Okay. FD celebrity. Okay.
I'm working on it. It's either college professor or selling out to Hollywood, so I can make.
You can do both. You can do both. Shout out Jordan Peterson.
True. But having kind of like talked to those people once or twice, you'd be surprised how nobody knows, how nobody thinks twice about shit like that. In fact, my working theory is that what it takes to get in those rooms
filters
would divorce you from those types of filters. Yeah, would divorce you from having the example I use. I have the Sinners video coming out in a couple of weeks. You ever see Two Can Play That Game? No. There's a scene in Two Can Play That Game that I can. I have to fight myself. Making an excuse to talk about this scene in every video I make on Black media, because it's the most gratuitous, gross, who let this in the movie scene ever, where Vivica Fox is walking through a hallway and she's walking to a couple's apartment, and they're loud and they're arguing, and she stops and she says, now why is it that Black people be getting so loud in a white man's building? And I'm like, why would you say that? That's not funny. That's not good. Whatever. And then she stops. And here's what makes it even worse. Yeah. She stops, comes back to camera. She says it directly to the camera. So she's talking to us in the audience. Like, y'all niggas to be too loud around these white folks. So you can't be doing that no more. Right? And then she stops and comes back and says, now, I hate to have to say that, but you got to admit, Black people are louder than Mexicans or some shit like that. And it's
that was a good one.
Right.
We quiet, boss.
And so at first it was like, damn you, Vivica Fox. Why would you do that? But like, wait, Vivica Fox didn't write this. Damn you, movie director, creator, da-da-da-da. But what I've landed at in my like personal like ethos towards it is that what it really is that the types of people to make those types of jokes, to make those types of decisions and dialogue and yada, 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 they're the ones who get access to a budget. They're the ones who get to be in Paul Thomas Anderson's inner circle. Because what I understand is Paul Thomas Anderson, this is not the first critique he's had against representations of minorities and women in general in his movies.
Oh, really? Because I've never seen nobody that wasn't white in his movies.
Well, no, there was something about Asians in one movie. I don't know the full story, but I remember I saw that comment. And so when I see there's a guy that used to be on what was it? Screen Junkies? Remember, did you watch Screen Junkies?
Which one is that? Is that like the screen, like the pitch meetings?
No, they do honest trailers now.
Oh, yes, yeah. I watch Honest Trailers, yeah.
But they used to have like a full-on like channel conglomerate where they had Honest Trailers. They had a podcast I really liked. It was like a movie nerd podcast. And one of the guys that used to be on there, he didn't even talk about this, but I've just heard him engage with films from this colorblind racism standpoint, right? And so essentially when we know that colorblind racism, for all the DEI woke stuff that people complain about, that is still the predominant racial frame of analysis that this country has. It's colorblindness is what we need. We need not treat anyone
Everybody's
differently.
The same.
Everybody's the same.
Everybody has
Yada,
the
yada,
same
yada. So I guarantee a bunch of colorblind racists were in the room and said, we have this dynamic, awesome Black female character that's gonna and there was nobody to say, maybe Jungle Pussy's monologue should come down a couple. should
Just
should
a
be
couple notches.
Just a couple of notches. Maybe
Tell me,
only
does this? Because I remember somebody
fights.
referencing.
Yes, I loved movie fights. Dad's 130.99. It was that was my shit when I had a work commute. That was before they were early in the game, and it might be Dan Morrell. He's like bald. He wears a hat all the time.
Okay, so a thing that came to my mind is, and I haven't been in them Hollywood rooms like you have. Like I'm not that deep into the Illuminati.
Don't repeat it like it's a real thing, but yeah, like it's just me in there, like just trying to spook loose that by the door and shit.
Yeah, got you. You got a glass up against the door.
Yeah, right. I ain't gonna talk. I don't want y'all to notice me, but I'm taking notes.
But I always think that it's like it's not just that only like to dial up what you said a couple of notches. It's not only coons getting invited to the building. It's also like there's power in some of these things that I think we don't often talk. Like we kind of talk about, but not really. But like a person understands when their presence is tenuous. Even when everybody's really friendly, we know who's got the permanent job and who's been invited there, who's there by privilege. So when you're sitting with a board of people and they work there and you're maybe pitching them for an idea that might get funding, you might get invited to that room, but you understand that you have to be nicer than they do. Yeah. You have to placate to stay there. And so I think, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity, Wood Harris, all of them are, how much space do they really think?
Than Paul Thomas Anderson has had?
Oh, he's never done it.
Nights. You know what I'm saying?
When they're in those movies, are they going, or in those rooms, like how comfortable are they really to say anything other than, yeah, that sounds great. You know what I mean? Even if they're being a little bit critical, because they're not Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio can say, yo, Paul Thomas Anderson,
I'm not saying this is stupid. Shit. Right.
I don't like this. But Wood Harris can't. Wood Harris in the PTA movie, he can't. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have that power. It's like, okay, cool. Let's get the next.
He had to think for him. Like I give everyone
Woodbine into here. Yeah, let's. Okay, yeah. All right, let's separate him in.
I give everyone a pass because out of context, I could imagine that they couldn't have imagined how it would look, especially all of it being bunched in the first 20 minutes and then them disappearing for the rest of the movie, which is its own set of problems. Wood Harris, second line in the movie being like, go working white girl. I know he had to say
activated white woman
said something. He had also, to be like,
there was also no reason to have them be romantically involved. Like,
none.
Okay, I kind of get it because again, the PTA pension world, everybody's fucking. Like that's just what their worldview is. But what is it? Okay, wait. What is this book that I need to read? What is this book?
This is oh man, this is an African-centered critique of European cultural thought and behavior.
Okay.
So basically, this is from Marimba Ani. She's the queen mother of Afrocentrism. Or is it Afrocentricity? I forget which one is the correct term, and I made a whole video about this shit. And basically the whole book, now this is not like this, I call it the Hotep Elder Scrolls because it's like, to me it's incredibly insightful. It's better than like people hold up the ISIS papers and what's the sister's name? She's really homophobic. She died a little while ago.
Don't know.
Frances Cress Wilson. So they will hold her up as like the figure, but her stuff is, there's a lot of weird homophobia, just a lot of her stuff had a lot of nonsense in it. There's some interesting things, but at the end of the day, she was a medical doctor that just got into Afrocentrism and turned into a Hotep like figure. Whereas Marimba Ani studied, she actually studied, Black studies, Africana studies, etc., and philosophy. So there's a more empirical academic angle on it, but it's basically explaining white people and like the center, like the concept of Western culture and white culture. And it makes a lot of really cool arguments. Like one of the things she argues is essentially that anti-Semitism should not be something Black people engage in because the true crux of white supremacy is Christianity, and Christianity creates anti-Semitism because anti-Semitism is not useful, because Judaism, I'm sorry, is not useful for white supremacy in the same way that Christianity is. And like here we are. I mean, essentially, yeah, because Judaism is matriarchal. Judaism is one of the few like not few, I don't know, one of the most prominent like cultural, ethnic, whatevers, where it's matrilineal, meaning that the child is whatever the mother is, which inherently imbues women with power. Do
Jewish people does their name come from the mom too? Is that how that works?
Don't give me no. Okay. I've already done enough Electronica.
This is the Jewish podcast. Yeah, sorry. We'll tell you everything you need to know about Judaism here.
Yeah, I don't hear
we are the original Black Israelites.
And so like, and a bunch of other stuff, just some kind of like,
I'll check it out then.
Here's the Les Hotep version of it. Is
what's it say?
Neil Irvin Painter,
The History of White People. Oh, I feel like I've heard this book. This is like a recent, like contemporary.
This is relatively recent. Yeah, this is old. This is like 89 or something.
Yeah,
this is like 20 something, 2010s. And they both make the same arguments, except for this is like neither of them are fun to read.
Like somebody said,
look at this.
Them thicks was thick as Tiana Taylor in the movie. I said, shit.
This harder and written in like a flowery philosophical way that's annoying. But this is a pedantic genealogy book half the time, which is boring. So
89 is old, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, Yid as in Yiddish? Is that what we're doing? Okay. Do you? Yeah, somebody was like, "We'll do a Jewish podcast." One thing that wait is that a slur or something?
I don't know. I'm uncomfortable.
Okay.
We're playing too hard and loose as Black men on the internet.
Too close to the sun.
Judaism. We're asking for someone to rip it out of context.
Okay. The one thing that was fucking with me on this movie was, and I wonder whether or not you have any critical sociological like takes on what this means in relation to all the things that we said about Paul Thomas Anderson's at the very best lack of understanding of the context within which he's creating art. How the fuck did they just go back home?
Who?
Like Leonardo DiCaprio and Chase Wilson. Chase Infinity. They just moved back to the same old house.
Because no, they wasn't it indicated that they were somewhere else?
No, like you can actually see in the background that the door that was blown up with the fucking stained glass window had just been taped back together.
Oh Lord. Well,
they just moved into the same house.
My guess is that the Christmas adventurers were probably responsible for that.
For allowing them to move back.
Yeah, for kind of like wiping the slate clean of everything Lockjaw did. Because they were,
wouldn't they just kill both of them? Like, why would they? He's from the French 75.
Well, because and that's kind of what I like. I like that the like Illuminatis white supremacists are so powerful. They're actually more interested in policing the membership of their membership issues than
revolutionaries that they know are ineffective.
Exactly. That's kind of what I took from it.
No, that's what I was looking for. Because I'm like, this was the house that was blown up, raided by the police, so they know that that not Project Pat, they know that Ghetto Pat lives in this house. They know that he lives in this house. They know who he is. They know his real identity. And they're just letting his daughter still go out on revolutionary meetings to go to or to go to, campus protests, and they just don't give a fuck. And I was like, wouldn't they put him in jail?
I really like, and that's the thing. I wish I could do more with this movie if it didn't have so much fuckery in the beginning, and I could have spent more time with that, because that is maybe one of my favorite depictions of like the white supremacist secret society I've ever seen in a movie.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun.
That was fun.
And
funny.
Shout out to fucking Kerry Washington's husband, because that motherfucker did a great goddamn job. He is so good as a powerful white man. He did a stupendous job. You know what I mean?
I love that it was so casual, right? Because I hate that white supremacists are always so foaming at the mouth, over the top, like like they would type to say jungle pussy. But the Christmas adventurers, this is what we do,
We're in a bunker.
You're in a bunker, and and they're genuinely bothered. Oh man, this guy fucked the black woman. Dang, I kind of like Bob. But
I guess we got to kill him. Could you clean the slate for us real quick? It's just it's friendly, and I think that was really nice that they were all very polite. Even when they killed Lockjaw, they were polite, and I appreciate that as a part of the portrayal of that style of human being.
That is how I think a lot of that really is. It's less skull and bones meetings where everybody's got like
robes and shit.
Octopus. What was it from? What was this? What I get this
from Simpsons?
No, not Simpsons. Chat.
What is this?
This is from something.
Isn't that the white power symbol? Why you got me doing it too? I'm gonna fuck.
No. There was Cyclops. Somebody was Cyclops. In a show.
Not future, like they actually had an eyeball.
No, that's what that was their like sign to each other. Lovecraft Country, not Lovecraft Country. Watchmen. Right, chat? Am I tripping? The Watchmen TV show that came out like right during COVID.
Oh, this was Watchmen. Oh, yeah. No, because I'm trying to. Speaking of Regina King, speaking of, I would love to have her on the podcast. Because Watchmen was great, and she's got a new movie out now, Caught Stealing. I'm just looking at this question. Is there any good in problematic representation in movies like this, or is it better to just have had PTA's normal all-white cast? So better to be invisible or better to be maligned with? I say that the third choice is you can have well-written, flawed characters, because this is the thing that we talked about with Ironheart, where we did a whole breakdown of that. I think Ironheart's like Riri in the movie, she's a bit of a scumbag, but the movie engages with that. You know what I mean? It gives her a chance to be a full person who happens to have some flaws. She's the smartest motherfucker in every room, but she's kind of a manipulative asshole. And we the same thing that we do with a white character. You show why they are the way that they are. Yeah. So I think that's the choice. Instead, she was a plot point to set up Leonardo's
right. And that's essentially the argument of my video, is that if you're going to have all of this all in service of being a family drama, right? Like if you'd have did all of that and then the rest of the movie engages and re-engages with the stuff you set up, then I probably have less of an issue because you have a well-written, fleshed out character, yada, yada, yada. But for her to disappear and literally never appear again on camera for the next 2.5 hours. So you had 2.5 hours left of the movie, and all she got was a voiceover at the end.
And she doesn't even come back, man. Because in the movie, Willa's character, who is called in the book, I forget what Willa's character's name is, but in the book, Frenessy Gates comes back and meets the daughter. Mm-hmm. Like that's actually there. So I'm like, I thought that Tiana was going to come back and help save the day some sort of way. Right. And then maybe leave again because she can't engage with being a parent, which is a thing that, people go through and I think should be criticized. But at the same time, it's like, it's real too. But I thought she was going to come back in some way. She's a letter and a voiceover. Come on, man.
Yeah. It's just careless. Like by itself, it's not like in isolation, because I want to be clear about like having flawed black woman characters on screen and like complexity. And it's tough, especially from my standpoint. Right. So by itself, it's not like we can't ever have black women be hypersexual or flawed or non-maternal or any of those things in media. That's not the situation. It's doing all of that just kind of for the fuck of it, and then completely switching gears into this family drama centered on white men. That is what made it so jarring to me. But also to also respond to that question, I made a video I finally understand Edgelord video, which is where I talk about the Joker, the second Joker movie, and a couple of other things where I think there's value in movies giving us an excuse to do a 2-hour podcast breaking down the problems, because I've come to think that, especially when we're talking about all that YouTube stuff at the beginning and like way people are consuming media, I think I am of the mind that we play a really important role in like public discourse and education going forward, especially with the advent of AI and these media organizations and corporations. What's the word? unifying, what's the word? Merging.
Yeah.
Where so much of what people see through mainstream venues is incredibly filtered and focus tested and all those things we talked about earlier, that we have to be ciphers. And like if you're on this platform doing what we're doing now, you're doing video essays about media, you're doing podcasts about media. Our job is to be a cipher for the shit, the good and bad, the bullshit, and the stuff that gets you, the stuff that that pisses you off. Somebody mentioned Attack on Titan fans who I'm always triggering. So like, I don't mind having a movie that forces me to do my job. You know what I mean? And I think my job is important, and I think there's value in using this big, significant movie to introduce people to the real story of Assata Shakur, or what a Jezebel and a Sapphire is when it comes to Black women on screen. So like, there's value there at the end of the day.
No, that makes sense as giving a platform for critical discourse. And like, yeah, no, I love breaking book. I love, as soon as I also, because I broke down the movie with a larger group of people right after. I wonder if that had made me have a different experience than if I had just been with one person.
Oh, Love Hills. Sorry, I forgot about the non-binary person. It's so many weird choices with identity politics in this. So although everybody in like the Friends 75 snitched,
yeah,
the choosing the one non-binary person to snitch on Willow, it was like, what?
Because it was a white non-binary. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mexican stood 10 toes down. Like it was like everybody snitched.
It's just
like, who didn't snitch in this?
It's just still hard. Like there's too many coincidences at a certain point. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Fair enough.
At a certain point, there's too many things happening for me not to. You know what I'm saying? At a certain point, I gotta. The power of Hotep compels you.
So real quick, this is the ending scene. There. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yeah, you can see my mouse. That is the window that gets blown up by Lockjaw, and then when they go in. So that's the house that they're in at the end. So they just moved back to exactly where they were at before.
Ooh, I didn't realize that.
Which is crazy.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, I could. Okay, so you think every single snitch slash.
Well, so let me be clear, so I don't sound too much like my dad.
Yeah.
So I think that this was a movie where, again, woke washing, where we have to have enough wokeness on screen to avoid being criticized by minority, specialized groups,
and to get the Oscar nom and the
right
applause.
To get the Oscar nom. Like, woke washing is all about white people. It's all about other white people. That's why I call it that, because that's what whitewashing is too. I'll go back to the video, the movie I talk about in the video. So this Dumb Money movie, right? It has Paul Dano as the star, and it's about the GameStop. This is basically a cult. In real life, this was a cult of weirdos who were all like stalking GameStop stocks, thinking it was going to have this like super thing, and they were all going to get so rich that it would break.
And some people got rich off of it. Didn't some people?
Yeah, the first people, like Paul Dano's character, got rich initially, but the people that came after that, the apes, as they're called, a bunch of weirdos, a bunch of mostly white weirdos, right-wing, slur-using weirdos. In the movie, the apes that we follow in the movie,
they change them to
or a Latino single mom, a Latino put upon GameStop worker who lives with his parents,
cartoonish identity politics,
and a biracial lesbian couple. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So
and what is Seth Rogen in the movie too? Yeah.
No. The who used to date Kim Kardashian? He's in the movie. Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. Yeah.
He's the movie. That's the guy's brother.
Pete Davidson is he's that guy.
But the people, like the people that are clearly in the weird cult, they're not represented, because who wants to make a movie where you root for a bunch of weirdo white guys on the internet? No, we have to add faces of color and diversity and like all the funny
to
thing
the college
about,
pamphlet, right,
exactly. It's the I could have called the college pamphlet. I could have called a bunch of things. I like woke washing. I think that'll catch on.
No, woke washing is great. That's good.
I was excited when I wrote that. I was like, oh, that's every once in a while. The bar you gave, I keep on trying to figure out how I'm gonna steal that. Every other video, I'm trying to write this line of whenever I fully get my Hollywood sellout check, I'm coming to get you immediately. You got to be in the writer's room because the bar you had about playing other instruments, that shit. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about that shit. That was off the top of the dome.
Hey, guys, do it. I appreciate it. And you can take Mammy Pixie Dream Girl too in the video.
Mammy Pixie. Oh no, I don't know. So that one, that might be too. That's too powerful.
I'm gonna put that shit in the thumbnail now. As soon as we get off this.
Oh, you gonna get us drugged? And by us, I mean mostly me.
I won't do it if it's gonna fuck your situation up.
I don't know. I may.
You let me know. Think on it. Let me know. Okay. I'll send you it.
I have to see it visually, and if I see it visually,
when we end this live, I'll show it to you live what it would look like in Photoshop, and then we'll and then you can approve it.
All right. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and wrap up.
You said all right, everybody. Thanks for
time coming. God willing, we'll see. I got to finish this Tyler Perry movie.
No, you're gonna be super rich and wealthy, professional Hollywood sellout professor. And we love to see it.
God, I hope so.
I can't wait for you to get to your nighttime television FD sit downs. You know what I mean? Like Star Talk, but
talking to only white people.
Unfortunately, 15 million mirrors, baby. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, FD, for coming through. Is there anything that you like working on right now? I mean, you have already dropped it throughout the thing, but if you want to reiterate.
So the video on this maybe Monday Sinners video is set for October 27th, and then the Tyler Perry video is 18,000 words long and counting. And that'll be December. And I don't know if I'll do anything in between that because I'm gonna need a break.
No, you gotta get rest. You know what I'm saying? Drink more water. You know, have a meditation. Shout out Mick Jenkins. I feel like he's another meditative.
I've never really heard Mick Jenkins.
He's good. Those first two albums are great.
If you came out before 2010, after 2010. The way my life has been set up since then, it's been hard for me to truly consume new artists. I feel that same way, but my hip
hop era is from 2009 to 2018.
Everything on the other side of that. You're still in your early 30s, right?
Hey, look, it's undisclosed, but that's what the rate is.
Okay.
but I will say with that in mind, I feel like I stopped listening to hip hop early or something like that. Like I feel like not to say I stopped, but I feel like
when I get you
and Josh still listen to new shit, and I'm
like when I talk to Think Peace Tribe and Turb, who are both septum ring, eyebrow ring, colorful dreadlocks, non-binary young bros.
Yes.
They're Playboy Cardi and QRS telephone, the 3-letter rappers. I'm
okay.
That was the Jay-Z meme.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I've tried, but it's not that. I love that for them.
Yeah, I think the early beginnings of that were because for me,
XXXTentacion.
Yes, XXXTentacion,
Denzel
Tekashi
Curry,
Low Key, Riff Raff, Denzel Curry, ASAP Rocky. Those were where I kind of and ASAP Rocky is 2 or 3 generations before them, but that kind of more feminine-ish, ambiguous, gonzo style of hip hop. That's the last chapter that I was heavily engaged with.
Yeah. And once I stepped out, came back in time for Kendrick, stepped out again and came back, and I didn't mind the gender, the non-binary aesthetic thing. I thought that was really cool for the kids to be getting into. But when I heard Curtis King calls them little voice rappers. Where it's and I was like, Magic Alive. I did do that one, Dad's one. Magic Alive is it's not meditation rap.
Fashionista rap. Okay.
Is that fashionista? I like that. Magic Alive, I think I like it because it kind of sounds like what if the Hamilton soundtrack was made by real rappers, a real rapper? Because it's really theatrical and big bandy. But it feels you're not listening to a rapping slave master. So
yes.
Yeah. All right, let me get up out of here, man. Peace and blessings.
Peace, everybody. Stream ending. Do you want